product is experiencing a bit of a boom. Sales of electronic cigarettes are expected to double this year, but that leads to a question: how safe are they? Today's Erica Hill took a look at that. Erica, good morning.
Hi, Savannah. Good morning to you. They claim to be the healthier alternative to traditional cigarettes, and with more people making a switch, they've certainly come a long way. Remember when smoking was cool, even sexy? How times have changed. Hollywood's new cigarette of choice just may be electronic.
I just take a regular.
Actress Katherine Heigl got David Letterman to try one back in 2010.
You have no excuse now to smoke a real cigarette.
And she's not the only celeb puffing and pushing e-cigarettes.
Blue lets me enjoy smoking without it affecting people around me.
Makers tout the gadgets as a healthier alternative because there's no smoke. E-cigarettes use batteries to heat nicotine in a cartridge, creating a vapor that's inhaled, then exhaled with water. But there is also no data yet on the long-term effects of e-cigarettes. The FDA, which does not yet regulate them, warns there's no way to know, quote, whether e-cigarettes are safe. One thing we do know, they're big business.
It was worth $500 million in 2012. Analysts project that it's going to be worth $1 billion in 2013.
Overall, traditional cigarette sales are down, falling 4.5% in the first 2 months of this year. While e-cigarettes aren't the only factor for that dip, there's no denying their rise in popularity. In 2011, 21% of adult smokers had used e-cigarettes, up from just 10% the year before. And there may be one other incentive: cost.
Estimate that there's somewhere between $800 and $900 of savings a year if a consumer switches from traditional cigarettes to e-cigarettes.
Something you can bet marketers will capitalize on. And traditional tobacco companies are also taking notice. Altria, whose staple brand is Marlboro, announced plans for its own electronic cigarette recently. Savannah?
All right, Erica, thank you. Let's take a deeper look with Dr. Nancy Snyderman. She's NBC's chief medical editor. Nancy, good morning to you. We should mention the FDA says there haven't been studies sufficiently to really determine whether they're safe. Is there a feeling among the medical community about whether these e-cigarettes are safe for people?
We know that nicotine is the addictive compound. That's what brings you into the tent. And then it's the 4,000 chemicals and carcinogens and tar that kill you.
In regular cigarettes.
So if you just look at a nicotine delivery system versus a nicotine and carcinogen delivery system, which is the typical cigarette, a lot of doctors will say, well, one, this is probably safer, and two, maybe even a stepping point to get off real cigarettes. But is there any long-term proof to show that those other little compounds that are in this are safe? Not really.
Well, that's what I was kind of wondering. So they're safer than traditional cigarettes, but are they safe is still an open question.
Yeah, but the one thing we know is that nicotine alone, in the doses that you get in a cigarette, is not really a problem. It is addicting, but it doesn't really hurt you. It's really the stuff that comes along with it.
So do you like the idea of using the e-cigarette as kind of a step down for somebody who needs a gateway to quitting and doesn't want to go cold turkey?
I have to say, I'm a cancer surgeon. Cigarettes are what kept me in business for 30 years. So anything that allows people to step away from tobacco is, to me, a decent first step. There's propylene glycol in here and glycerin, two compounds that sort of make the mechanism work. No long-term studies that show that they work, but there are a lot of household compounds that we use anyway, certainly better than arsenic and a lot of the other compounds you see in real tobacco.
Would you worry at all about a non-smoker or perhaps a former smoker picking them up thinking, well, these are safe, why don't I give it a try?
Well, the real question is, that's just it. If you get addicted to the nicotine, do you then get allured back to the smell and the ambiance of real cigarettes? Nobody's looked at that. I mean, the gateway idea of drug addiction has always been controversial. But I think as it stands right now, big tobacco absolutely knows that these are a hot item because, one, people die from cigarettes or they quit. So what does big tobacco have to do? They have to recoup those people. So to see this as a hot market, they're absolutely going to do it. So Altria, which is really more, they're looking forward to this. And I suspect this is going to be a very big global investment.
Well, Nancy, always good to get your take on it. Thank you so much. I'll send it over to Matt.
All right, Savannah, thank you. Now to an innovative program to deal with a serious problem that's faced by millions of Americans.